All it took was 6 days. One single act of war in the Indian Ocean has set the entire Middle East on fire. What started as one strike is now spiraling out of control into a war on multiple fronts, and believe me, the shockwaves are already hitting us right here at home.
So it all kicked off with something we have not seen since World War II. The U.S. Secretary of Defense came out and confirmed it. An American submarine fired a torpedo and sank an Iranian warship. His words? Incredibly blunt. He said the U.S. was, and I'm quoting here, fighting to win the war. This wasn't some minor skirmish, this was a massive, stunning escalation.
And the immediate cost of that one torpedo? Devastating. At least 87 Iranian sailors on board the frigate Dena are dead. Think about that. One strike, and 87 lives just gone. Well, you know a response was coming, and Iran's was swift and absolutely chilling. Their foreign minister called it an atrocity at sea and then made this promise. It was a crystal-clear threat of retaliation. And spoiler alert, they didn't wait long to make good on it.
You see, that sinking was just the match that lit the fuse. In the days since, this conflict has just exploded, pulling in new countries, opening up new fronts, and creating a firestorm across the entire region.
So how did Iran retaliate? They launched a kamikaze drone into Azerbaijan, hitting an airport and injuring 2 civilians. Just like that, the war jumped its borders and got a whole lot bigger.
At the same time, over in the Persian Gulf, Iran's Revolutionary Guards hit a U.S. tanker, setting it on fire. And then they threatened to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow channel where about 1/5 of the entire world's oil supply passes through, a total choke point.
And then another major player jumped into the ring, Israel. They announced a large-scale wave of attacks directly against Iran. And sure enough, moments later, reports started flooding in of massive explosions rocking Iran's capital city, Tehran.
And the chaos just kept spreading. Iran launched missiles into Iraq. Israel hit targets in Lebanon. A Hamas official was killed. Then a ballistic missile fired from Iran had to be shot down by NATO over Turkey. This isn't just one war anymore. It's a wildfire that's completely out of control.
Okay, so a lot of this is happening thousands of miles away. You might be asking, why does this matter to me? Well, because the consequences are already here and they're about to affect your wallet, your travel, and so much more.
Let's start with the most obvious one, money. Because of those attacks in the Strait of Hormuz, oil prices have already shot up by 15%. That's not some abstract number. You are going to feel that very soon, every single time you go to the gas station.
And beyond the money, the human crisis is getting worse by the hour. Iran's airspace is closed. People are scrambling to get out. We're talking nearly 1,500 foreign nationals escaping into neighboring countries in just a few days. And now, hundreds of thousands of travelers are just stranded, stuck in the middle of a growing war zone.
So while all that's happening overseas, a completely different kind of war is kicking off right here in the U.S. It's a war over information, a battle for the truth about why this all started in the first place.
This was the official story that we all heard. The justification pushed by administration officials was that the U.S. had to strike first. Why? Because we had credible intelligence that Iran was about to launch a massive attack that would have caused mass U.S. casualties. It was a really powerful argument for a preemptive strike.
But here's the twist. It turns out that might not be the whole story. Because reporters dug deeper and found out that in private closed-door briefings with Congress, Pentagon officials were telling a very different story. They admitted that Iran was not actually planning an unprovoked strike on U.S. forces.
So you can imagine, this contradiction has thrown Washington into chaos. You've got the defense secretary admitting this war could go on for weeks, maybe even months. And just this week, the Senate actually voted down a bill that would have put limits on the president's power to keep this war going.
Which brings us to the biggest question of all. We're in a conflict that is expanding by the day. The economic pain is just beginning, and the entire reason we were told this war was necessary is now being seriously questioned. So, where do we go from here? Is America being dragged into a much wider war with no clear mission and absolutely no end in sight? Let me know what you think in the comments.